Is Aaron Rodgers going to be worth this price tag for the Jets?
Skip, it's kind of like you go to a ball game. You got to pay those highest prices. If you want to eat, if you want to drink a beverage, you got to pay $15, $16 for a Coke and $25 for a beer. Yep. It's really that simple. So what you going to do? You can't bring anything in. They felt that they had a playoff team at every position except what? The most important position, Skip, you say in all of pro sports, the quarterback.
And remember, they haven't had one of those since Joe Namath.
Yeah.
In fact, I heard this morning somewhere, the last time a Jets quarterback even got an MVP vote was Namath in 1972. So they haven't had anybody who can even get in the MVP race. Go ahead.
You're right. And so you swap positions this year. So Jets, poop, okay, we're going to send you out. You get the 13th, we take the 15th. You get a second rounder, a conditional second rounder next year that converts into a first if he plays 65% of the snaps.
That's the one, man.
Right. Which unless he, barring injury, he's going to get that, Skip.
65%.
Yeah, I'd have brought that up to 80.
Ooh,
I'd have brought that up to 80. Because basically, you just gave it away, unless you think it's going to be a situation like Favre where he just falls apart. But it's going to be hard, Skip. He starts the first 10 games. He's going to be there. He's going to be there. Skip, look, I still believe Buffalo is the cream of that division because of the quarterback. Because you look at New England, you look at Miami. We know that they tried to Mac Jones, that the Patriots were trying to shop him.
Yeah.
Tua, his health is an issue. I don't care what anybody says. And he even said that he contemplated retirement in the offseason.
He did. So
you got two quarters, so of the 4 teams, 2 of them have issues at quarterback. I like the Dolphins defensively with the addition of Jalen Ramsey. Howard, you know they're going to play a lot of man coverage. The question is, how healthy is Tua? I'm discounting the Patriots. They're not the Patriots. But now we got the Bills. Josh Allen, how good are they? Offensively, I think they're straight. Defensively, Von Miller is the key.
He is.
Because he's the one guy that can turn the lights out of the building.
Agreed.
On third down, Von, go get home. Okay, gotcha. Fourth down, Von, we need to stop. Gotcha.
Yep.
How healthy will he be even at the start of the season he plays, Skip?
Yep.
How healthy? Because their defense took a big step back once he went down.
It was
Skip.
not the same.
Because that's why you paid that big bucks to go get him. He can turn the corner.
What? As we've talked, everywhere he's been, he is a big difference maker.
He's a big game player.
Yeah.
And the bigger the game, the bigger the moments, the bigger he plays.
Agreed.
So how the Jets say we got a defense. We got Sauce Gardner, we got Quentin Williams, we got C.J. Mosley. Oh, we loaded over here on defense.
Loaded.
Now you make some additions. You got Lazard. You had the offensive rookie of the year, and Garrett Wilson. Okay. Brees Hall comes back.
If he can come off
the ACL, he should. That's not a surgery that keeps players from reaching their potential ever again. It ruined Gale Sayers' career, but with the way medicine is now, Skip,
agreed.
Man, guys come back and they be better than they were before.
It will be better. I'm just not sure he'll be back for the start of the season.
Right.
Yeah.
So, will he be worth it? Skip, when you give up what you gave up, Skip, he got to get to the Super Bowl.
Agreed.
Because it's Super Bowl or bust. I mean, you give up this, that's what you paid for.
Yes.
Because you probably could have got, and people are like, well, what about Lamar? Okay. When you make a decision like this, when you basically that second round pick, I believe is going to convert because I believe Aaron Rodgers is going to play 65% of the snaps.
Yep.
Skip, it's Super Bowl or bust. Yep. It is what it is. I mean, and I hate saying that. Mm-hmm. If the Jets don't get to that point, Skip, this season is a failure.
Yep. Because
it's Aaron Rodgers. Skip, they just ain't get some guy. Skip, they ain't get some backup and said all he needed was an opportunity to show what he could do. This is not. They didn't get. What's your guy from the Cowboys, Skip? What your backup?
Cooper Rush.
Skip, this ain't Cooper Rush. This man has 4 MVPs, 475 passing touchdowns, and fewer than 100 interceptions.
Are you sure Cooper Rush isn't right now better than Aaron Rodgers? Are you sure? Are you sure?
No.
I'm not sure about this.
Cooper Rush, Cooper Manning, DB Cooper, ain't none of the Coopers. Cooper Kupp, no, Cooper Kupp, man.
He could probably play quarterback.
But Skip, he's coming off an injury also. So, but nah, Skip, he has to. I think in order for this trade to be valued and says, okay, the Jets, he's got to take him to the Super Bowl. Okay. At some point, I'm not saying this year, but before he leaves there, he got to get him there.
Okay. As soon as I heard this, I immediately tweeted Super Bowl or bust.
Okay. So we're thinking the same thing then.
Same thing. I've never been the biggest Aaron Rodgers fan. you have for a while. You don't love him off the field, in the locker room, in front of the media.
But I still believe he's a sensational player.
Got it. He had his worst year last year, and it's not even close.
Right.
He fell off the proverbial cliff. I'm not saying he can't climb back up the cliff depending on what his mindset is. He also said he went into his darkness retreat and came out and wasn't sure whether he wanted to play or not. Well, your heart now better way be in this because now you're going to have to deal with the New York media as opposed to the Milwaukee, Green Bay media.
Correct.
And I have high regard for those guys because I know a lot of them. And they're not soft, but they ain't these guys.
Yeah.
These guys are ruthless. These guys are not even fair.
Right.
At least the Green Bay, Milwaukee, they're fair. They're tough but fair.
Yeah.
These guys not fair.
Some of these guys in New York media, Skip, I think they go to the press conference I'm going to try to get him on his skin.
I'm going to try to get him. And they will. I predict those are going to be must-see.
Yes.
So I look across the board at the numbers he put up last year, and his passing yards were the lowest of his career. His interceptions were the highest of his career. His QBR was the lowest of his career. We got all the way to the last game, a home game against your perennial doormat, the Detroit Lions, up and coming now, and all you had to do was beat the Lions at home to get to the playoffs, and he couldn't even do that.
Couldn't do it.
So we have seen now 3 straight years end with home games. The last was kind of a playoff for the playoffs, but we saw him have an NFC Championship game at home, and you know the story against Brady's Bucks. And then we saw a divisional round game against Jimmy Garoppolo's 49ers, and he stunk in the end of that game too.
We did.
He is now overall in the postseason 11-10. It has now been 12 years since Aaron Rodgers went to his one and only Super Bowl, and to his credit, he won it, and he was the MVP, but it was 12 long years ago. Since then, he's 7-9 in the postseason. And without boring you and going back into gory detail, of those 7 wins, 6 of them are pretty lucky, fortunate wins where he got big breaks in circumstances or something happened in the game that gave him a big advantage.
So basically, on the way to that Super Bowl in his playoff career, he's only been beaten one quarterback that's going to the Hall of Fame.
Okay. That would be
Big Ben.
Big Ben. Okay, I
lost to Russell Wilson.
Yeah.
Lost to Tom Brady.
Because he's 1-4 in conference championship games, and he has lost home playoff games. I'm sorry. Let's do the conference championship games. He lost at Seattle. He lost at Atlanta. We just talked about. Then he went to San Francisco and got blown out, and then he lost to Tampa at home.
Unless you consider Matt Ryan, if you believe Matt Ryan is going to go to the Hall of Fame, do you believe that?
All right. So I was shocked by the compensation because I did not think that the Jets needed to go that far.
Right.
Green Bay had made it clear they're done with him. So I know it's a game of blink. It's a game of chicken.
Right.
We're going to go all the way up to draft night. We might even go up to the first pick.
Right.
And I thought it was going to require that because I thought Green Bay, because Aaron Rodgers makes $50 million a year, I thought Green Bay would finally say, we're going to push you to the brink here. And the truth is, I thought the Jets would say, okay, we'll give you a third. That's what I thought it was going to be.
Aren't you surprised the Jets didn't ask for more, knowing that you don't want him? And he's already, Skip, this is like an arranged marriage. And there are some countries that you arrange a marriage. Now, you want my daughter, I want 10 goats, 3 cows, and a plot of land.
Okay,
Do you want her?
From the Green Bay perspective, but from the Jets' perspective, it's the Amari Cooper syndrome where Jerry finally threw up his hands and said, I don't know what I was thinking. I thought he was going to Washington, so I gave him $20 million, and he ain't worth it.
But Skip,
so I went out from under. Cleveland, will you take him off my hands? Will you pay the freight? And what did Cleveland say? Yes, we'll take the contract. We'll give you a fifth.
Right.
Okay? Well, I thought this would be, we'll give you a third, and we'll take on the contract.
But here's the thing, though, Skip. The Jets have already let you know they wanted him.
Sure, I got it.
So, Skip, this is the arrangement. You already told me you want him, so you already told me you want my daughter. This is my asking price, Skip. That's what it is. Do you want it or not? And the Green Bay Packers finally said, look, we're going to swap positions. We're going to take the 13th. You're going 5th. We're going to get a second round this year, and the second round next year converts into a first round if he plays 65%.
So
take it or leave it.
The odds are you moved up 2 slots.
Yes.
And you're going to get a 2 this year, which is pretty good.
Right.
And next year, you're going to get a 1.
Take it or leave it. That's
what's going to happen. And that's what they did. They said, okay, we give up, we give in, we blink, we're chicken.
Right.
We got to do it because We got to do it. We don't have a quarterback.
Because Skip, think about it. All Zach Wilson had to be was competent. It's like my grandpa used to give my brother and I chores, and he said, boy, you know what? Anything is better than nothing. But you two fellas are real close to nothing. So the Jets are saying anything is better than what we had. Because what we had was nothing.
Okay, so here comes Aaron Rodgers on his way to age 40 because in early December he turns 40 years of age. And I know Brady shattered the mold at 45, but forget it. It's an aberration. It's an outlier. It's not going to happen again.
How many 38-year-olds you think you're going to see playing like LeBron?
No, that's true. I give you that.
As many as you see playing at 40 like Tom Brady. That's how many you're going to see.
We got two mold shatterers here, and you can forget about both of them because you can't measure the rest by them. It's almost inhuman what both of them have done and are doing.
Correct.
Okay. So here comes Aaron Rodgers, and he was thinking about, am I done here? But he's looking at, wait a second, I got $50 million and $50 million on the table. I think I need my
$100 million. 60
million,
this year.
Right? Is it 60 and 50 next year, or whatever it is?
That's what it is.
All right. So he's saying, I want my money. Well, you're going to pay a severe price because the Jets just paid such a severe price in context for what I thought they were going to have to give, that all of a sudden the pressure ratchets way up on Aaron Rodgers. The New York media is going to say just what you said and just what I concluded. Boy, this is Super Bowl or bust.
Of course.
So all of a sudden, number 12 is going to wear number 8 now. I'm going to have a hard time getting used to that.
Oh, he's not going to get 12?
He's going to wear 8. He chose. He said, I'm going to wear 8, which was what he wore in, I guess he wore it in college.
Yeah.
He wore it at Butte or at Cal?
It must have been at Butte, because I think he was 12 at Cal.
I thought he was at Cal, but it must have been Butte Junior
Man,
College.
I'd have pulled a Peyton Manning. I'd have called, I think, Frank Chapuka.
Yeah.
I had 18.
Well, it was Namath's retired number, and Namath already said publicly, I'm happy to have him wear it.
Well, Chapuka's number is 18. Is retired in Denver. And Peyton called him up. You remember Steve Deshaun, when he got to Clemson, he reached out to Steve Fuller. Steve Fuller said, sure. Once Deshaun left, they put it back up.
No offense to Chapuka, but Namath's like a god. Because he's all you ever had.
Skip, any guy that wins your first Super Bowl, unfortunately, it is what it is. He's Broadway Joe.
Okay, he's Broadway Joe. And here comes Aaron so late in life. And all of a sudden, this is a be careful what you wish for, because you wind up, wait a second, I had a wish list, and they gave me a lot of stuff. They got Lazard for me, right?
Yeah, they did. Scott, give Joe Montana.
Yeah.
Remember when the Kansas City?
He did.
Randolph in 16 was retired.
Okay, that's a good one. Yep, he got it.
So I believe if Aaron really wanted 12, he could have reached out to Joe. And Joe, like you said, Joe said he'd had no problem with wearing it. I mean, I agree with you. It's like, man, Aaron Rodgers at 8?
Well, maybe he didn't want the added pressure of I'm Joe Namath.
No, hey, bruh, no, you better than Joe. So you're going to have to deliver what Joe did.
Listen, I love Joe. I know him very well. I almost wrote a book with him. But
if you know the history of the game, you know.
When you look, you just say, okay, you did do that. You went to Super Bowl 3.
He has more interceptions than touchdowns, Skip. It is what it is.
Hey, I got it. Listen, he was a beautiful thrower of the football.
Oh, yeah.
If you just watch it.
He was the first guy to pass for 4,000 yards in a season.
He used to just take my breath away in those old AFL games.
Big time arm. Big time arm.
Man. And when he came out of Alabama, when his knees were
he could run.
He could really run. He was like an option quarterback at Alabama. He was a gifted athlete who was a shell of himself when I first got to know him when he came out to the Rams out here.
Right.
You want to talk about shell of self.
Yeah. When like Johnny Unitas went to the Chargers,
it was terrible. It was terrible. But I got your big picture point. What he did was he guaranteed a victory in the Super Bowl over, I think they were 16-point favorite Baltimore Colts.
Right.
They were the NFL.
Yeah.
And he put the AFL on the map.
He forced the merger. You might as well, you honestly say he forced the merger.
And he wasn't a superstar in that game. He didn't put up big numbers, but it wasn't that kind of game. It was more of a defensive battle.
Correct.
They wanted to keep the ball away from Johnny U and company.
Right.
And they pulled it off. So that was his claim to fame. And, yeah, he's ridden that for a long time because it's like the 85 Bears. Nobody's challenged them in Chicago.
But here's the thing, Skip. He had done what he did anywhere else, but he did it in New York.
Yep.
And the song said, Frank Sinatra said, if you can make it here, you can make it anywhere.
That's what he said.
So, Skip, he does this anywhere else.
Yeah, and plus, when you're called Broadway Joe and you're living up to it because you're out every night.
Every night. Yeah.
Lord.
Hey.
Okay, so this is
He was studying his plays by the jukebox.
Yeah,
The lights are bright.
true.
The lights are bright in the club. Yeah, okay.
I'm not sure he was studying plays.
Yeah, he
I'm
was
not sure.
studying stuff. Okay. I get what you go after.
In those days, I don't think they
Yeah, they did.
studied a whole lot of plays. But the point is, this is what Aaron's going to have to live up to.
Right.
The deal that they made, the price they paid.
Yes.
Joe Namath,
Yes.
New York,
Yes.
up against the Giants for back page
Right.
dominance.
Skip,
okay?
it's like any trade
Yeah.
in any sport. When you get a superstar, you in baseball, you got to take us to the World Series. In basketball, NBA championship. You don't trade for Kevin Durant to get Kevin Durant to know we just hope to be respectable now because we no.
Yeah. So I got one final question to ask.
Okay.
Can you get immunized against choking? Is that possible? I don't know. Can you? Is there such a thing?
No. Ain't nothing you can do about that.
Nothing?
You just got to perform the Heimlich.
Okay.
That's all you got.
Okay. He's
That's
going to
it.
need some Heimlich this year then.
So you don't think do they win the division?
No, they're not going to beat Buffalo. But do they make the playoffs? I give them a good shot to make the playoffs because the team is flat out loaded.
Boy, that division is
And
loaded.
it's on the verge. You know, it feels like the momentum of it. He's going to have to live up to the momentum.
Because it's not like, Skip, Miami, the only question that you have about Miami is the quarterback.
Yeah.
Because they're loaded. You look at the receiver position, you look at that defense.
I'll off the top of my head, I'm going to say they make the playoffs and lose the first playoff game.
Okay.
Because that's his MO.
They get 3 teams in that division in the playoffs.
Boy, I just don't. I don't trust Tua's health. I just don't.
Right.
There's something about it. I just don't love where they're trying to go with him.
Well, guys, expectations certainly are sky high. Fox Bet Sportsbook gives the Jets the 7th best chance of winning the Super Bowl this year right now. All right, let's move back to the association in this first round of the playoffs. Let's talk about LeBron. Shannon, how impressive was he last night? That's next, right after this break. Thanks for watching, Undisputed fans. Subscribe here to get the very latest from Skip and Shannon. Plus, go watch a few segments from our other shows on FS1.